We're breaking down some absolutely explosive claims from the text, The Ghost Architecture of Global Wealth. We're going to deconstruct the invisible forces that might literally be dictating the value of everything you own. No fluff, no jargon, just the raw architecture of how modern global wealth actually operates behind the scenes. So buckle up, because we're moving fast.
Section 1. The Invisible Tax. Think about your daily routine. You pull out your phone, right? You check your digital bank balance. Well, the authors of this text make a massive claim right out of the gate. Money, as we fundamentally understand it today, is the ultimate illusion of modern civilization. We look at those digits on our screens and we feel a sense of security, or maybe panic, based entirely on a fabricated metric. You swipe your card at the grocery store. You swipe it at the gas station. We measure our personal freedom, our very livelihood, by these digital numbers. And most of us believe that simple, natural cycles, like classic supply and demand, are what dictate the rising prices we see all around us. But the text challenges us to rethink that completely. Because here's the real question: who actually controls the ledger? According to the authors, inflation isn't just some accident of the free market. They argue that the real global ledger extracts a silent, systematic dividend from every single transaction you make. You aren't just paying local taxes, you're secretly paying into a global system that most people don't even know exists. And that brings us to their core concept. They define this system as the ghost architecture. The text describes it as a clinical framework built back in the 1970s. And get this, it wasn't built to reflect local economies or reward your hard work. It was allegedly built to systematically extract wealth and funnel it directly into select banking cartels. It's basically an invisible grid layered over the entire planet.
Section 2. The 1971 Currency Shock.
Everything pivots on this specific year. The massive turning point, the source states, was the 1971 Nixon shock. This was the exact moment the global financial anchor was deliberately cut, creating a massive vacuum in the world economy. The text uses this to illustrate the perceived danger of a currency backed by nothing. Just look at the shift here. Pre-1971, you had a system anchored by physical gold. It was tangible. It was real. Post-1971, you get an unanchored fiat system. The authors argue that a currency backed by absolutely nothing is a highly dangerous experiment, mainly because it requires immediate artificial demand to prevent total collapse under its own weight.
So how did they create that artificial demand? The source text calls the solution a masterpiece of geopolitical chess. A secret pact was struck. The goal? Anchor the entire global energy market to a single fiat instrument. This forced every nation on Earth that wanted to buy oil or power their cities to first acquire this specific digital token. The authors claim this didn't just create demand. It created an absolute global monopoly, forcing nations to trade their tangible, sovereign energy for paper.
Section 3. The Global Recycling Loop.
The source outlines a continuous, unstoppable recycling loop. Here's how they claim it works. Step 1, global energy is purchased strictly in that required fiat currency. Step 2, billions in surplus dollars flood into the energy exporting nations. But they can't just leave that cash sitting in vaults. So, step 3, that capital is systematically funneled right back into Western financial markets, buying up sovereign debt and high-yield real estate.
This dynamic creates what the text powerfully describes as an artificial gravity well. Capital, from resource-heavy, often poorer nations, is essentially drained right into the center. It's subsidizing elite debt and infrastructure at the direct expense of everyone else on the outside. But what happens if someone tries to step out of line? The authors assert that modern empires don't need to send border armies to enforce this monopoly anymore. If a foreign leader tries to clear transactions on an independent ledger, the penalty is swift, clinical, and total. They simply cut the non-compliant nation off from the digital clearinghouse entirely. The network literally protects the monopoly of the transaction grid itself.
Section 4. The devaluation endgame. The text outlines a specific timeline. As alternative global alliances quietly build their own decentralized, parallel settlement systems, the pressure inside the old grid hits a boiling point. But the central clearinghouses don't fix the foundation. Instead, the source claims, they accelerate the extraction of wealth just to keep the machine running.
So the absolutely crucial point the source makes is this. Your shrinking purchasing power, the fact that your money buys less every single year, is not an accident. It's a deliberate feature of a decaying monopoly that's printing liabilities much, much faster than the planet can actually produce tangible value. And as this ghost grid fractures, a massive wealth transfer occurs. The text claims the strategy splits right here, the elite are quietly shifting their positions out of the paper system and into hard, unprintable assets. Meanwhile, the general public, completely unaware of the ghost architecture, is left holding the bag of a devalued illusion. That difference is being extracted directly from your savings and your labor.
The outro. The final balancing. As we wrap up this video, the source leaves us with a really stark warning. They note that in this ghost architecture, the math always works out. The global ledger always balances in the end. The extraction is clinical, and it's perfect. Which leaves us with one haunting question to ponder regarding your own savings, your hard work, and your future. As the grid fractures and the ledger balances, whose wealth is being balanced away? Thanks for watching, and keep your eyes on the invisible architecture around you.